Hello and welcome. I know a lot of you guys watching my content would love to take your photography and videography to a professional level. Some of you might be working a day job and you're doing photography and cinematography in your spare time, but you really want to be able to monetize your creativity so that you can do it full time. Now, for me personally, the first step that I took in that direction was freelancing. I actually used to have a day job working in a supermarket in London, and even though it was rewarding and it was quite fun, it doesn't compare to doing creative stuff full time. So in my case, I joined Upwork and I started getting work on there, and I got some long-term clients, and that really helped me to escape that 9 to 5. Now in this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips that will help you get a lot more work on online platforms such as Upwork. These tips aren't specific to Upwork. They will actually help you in any kind of freelancing environment or negotiation. So let's get started. Tip number 1, leading with your passion. Now you might say, well, duh, of course you should lead with your passion. Of course you should be passionate. I'm afraid that's not quite true. Let me explain. As someone who's both worked and hired on Upwork, I've noticed a pattern throughout the thousands of applications that I've received on that platform. And that is that everyone tends to lead with passion. They'll say something like, oh, video editing is my passion. I live for it. It's what I love to do. They're just looking for someone to give them that opportunity to become video editors. And whilst I can relate to that, obviously, the problem is that everyone does this, first of all. And second of all, that ignores the needs of the person who's there to actually pay you. You see, you telling me that you're really passionate about what you do doesn't tell me anything about your skill level, and it doesn't tell me anything about how dependable you are. Because I know that passion can be fleeting. You can feel really passionate today and you may not be in the mood tomorrow, which is a massive problem if you're trying to run a business. If you're just being passionate about what you do and you're editing in your bedroom or something and you're really passionate, you make beats all day, it's really passionate, but then you don't really do it for a week, or you don't do it that's great if you want to do it as a hobby. But if someone's paying you, what I need to hear from you is that you'll do stuff on time when needed, regardless of how you feel that day, regardless of whether you're in the mood. And you'd be surprised how difficult this is to find. A lot of freelancers will literally just ghost you, and I've had it happen to me a lot. I've had it happen to clients because we talk and we share tips. It's incredibly common for freelancers to just bail on you. Sometimes they'll tell you and sometimes they won't. They'll just ghost you one day and that's it. Bye-bye. See ya. They took some of the money, your project's half finished, and, tough luck. Okay, so what should you actually say in your application? Now, the answer is actually quite simple. You should read the job description and you should summarize it and say it back to me. So if I tell you I need you to be able to use Premiere and have a good sense of rhythm and timing and to be able to speak good English so you can understand what I'm saying and blah, 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 I want you to then take all of that and say it back at me. I can use Premiere and I have a really good sense of rhythm, and here's some of the work that I've done that showcases this, because at least then I know that you've at least read the job description, which a lot of people don't. And it's incredibly obvious when someone hasn't read the job description. So I suppose what I'm saying is that you should always view the application from the perspective of the person who's hiring you, because they're the ones that are paying you. So you should always make sure that you're worried about what they need. Hello, sir. I can definitely help you with this and this. I'm really reliable, as demonstrated by here's all these other work, jobs that I've completed. Obviously, if you haven't done any, it's a bit more difficult. Social proof is real. I think on my Upwork profile, I've made something like 50k or something, and on over like a few dozen jobs. So that in itself is a huge advantage, is social proof. It's dozens of people paying me thousands of dollars to do work for them. That says a lot. Obviously at the start you're not going to have that, so you're going to have to get a bit more creative. But the first and most important thing is that you begin the application process by looking at it from the perspective of your employer. tip number 2, and that is not giving quotes. Now, something that happens unfortunately far too much is I'll post a job saying, hey, I need this, I need that. Can you give me a quote of roughly how much this will cost, and show me some examples of work that you've done in the past? And you'd be surprised how many people just either don't give a quote, or they say, I charge this much per hour. Now, the problem is that this ignores the needs, or my needs as the person posting the ad. Because by you saying I charge $30 an hour, what does that mean? Is it going to take you 1 hour? Is it going to take you 10? That's a pretty big difference, especially if you're charging $30, $50 an hour or $100 an hour. That's a massive difference. I need to have some sort of idea of how much this will cost, because if you think about it, obviously there's a point at which me hiring you no longer makes sense. If I need you to make a video for me and I make, say, $200 from it, if you charge me $50 to make it, that's great. If it costs you $300 to make it, now I'm losing money. So I need to figure out ahead of time roughly how much this is going to cost me. Now, yes, there are scenarios in which it's not quite clear how much to charge. Now, in those cases, what you should do is you should give examples of other jobs that you've done and how much you charged and how long it took you. Give maybe 2 to 3 examples tops, not too many. We don't have a lot of time. We can't look for all of your examples. Your best 2 to 3 projects. How much did it cost you to make some? How much did you charge to make something like that? If you've never done paid work, you can. It's not lying. You can maybe say, like, if you did a project for a friend and you didn't charge them anything, you can maybe say. You could say how much you would want to charge for that, and say that you charged that. So yeah, I did this video for this client. It cost them $200. Right? You don't have to be 100% honest. You can be 99% honest and say, yeah, I did it for a client. This is how much it cost. And this will give your clients some sort of baseline of how much this project will cost them, which is very important, because if you have 100 profiles to look at and 100 applications, the moment anything bothers you as the person reading the applications, you'll just disregard the application. That's just how it works. You could be the best person in the world, you can have the best intentions, but man, when you have 100 people to get through, and someone's not giving you a quote, or they're talking too much about themselves, next, there's like 95 more people to look at. What am I going to do? It sounds cold, and it is, but you need to bear that in mind. You need to bear in mind the perspective of the person hiring you. This is a theme that we'll talk about quite often. Okay, so we've discussed how to give a quote even when you don't know how long it will take you to do the job. Now, here's a third and final tip, or third and final mistake, which is offering to work for free. That's a really bad one. I've had situations where I put a job up and I said, hey, I'm going to do paid trials. So I'm going to pick my favorite few applicants and I'm going to have them do an example, like a video or something for pay, just to figure out who I want to actually hire. And I've had instances where I shortlisted someone and I offered to pay them, like, how much are you going to charge me for this sample? And they said, oh, no, don't worry, it's free. That's a massive red flag. That's weird. Because view that from my perspective, like you think that because if you're starting out as a freelancer, maybe you don't have a lot of money, so you think that by giving me discounts, that's going to make me more likely to hire you. But if you think about it from my perspective, the reason why I'm hiring someone, especially in my case, because I already know how to do all the jobs that I hire people for, the reason why I'm hiring you is because I have some disposable money and I would like to use this money to buy back some of my free time. Do you understand? You have a lot of time and you're exchanging it for money. What I'm doing as the person hiring you is I'm taking some of my money and I'm exchanging it to get some of my time back. So you telling me that you're going to save me some money without me knowing how much time you're going to save me, or maybe even waste. And I've actually rejected people specifically because they offered to work for me for free. Now, there are clients who will be happy with you doing work for free for them. And the secret, are you paying attention? Are you listening? The secret is that you do not want to work for those people. If a client is happy for you to do indefinite work for free for them, run away. Run away as fast as you can, because those people will use you as much as they can, and then they'll let you go. And you would have wasted your time. They got the value. They used you. Don't put yourself in that position. The people who want you, who are okay with you working for free for them, are the people that you don't want to work for. Now, you might say, Christian, is there some sort of instance, some sort of scenario in which I should work for free? And the answer is yes. Hear me out. Let's say that you're working with a client, and let's say you do video editing for them, and you work with them for a while, and they pay you. You will occasionally get some idea of like, if we did this sort of videos, if we did this with the business, if we tried that, I think that will get the client more money, more clients, more followers, etc. Now, you can approach the client with this and maybe they'll say yes, but oftentimes they'll say no because they don't know if it's going to work. It's going to cost them extra money, and they're not going to be sure whether they want to do it or not. So what can you do? Well, in that instance, you offer to do it for free for a small period of time. So let's say, I'll do it for free for like 2 or 3 days, or for a week, or for like 2 or 3 times, whatever the context is. Now, if it doesn't work out, oh well, it just didn't work out. It happens. The client didn't lose anything. We tried it, it didn't work, fair enough. But if it does work out, now you've increased your customer's business, you've increased their followers or their clients, and now you're also making more money as well. All because you were willing to risk working for free for a few hours over the weekend. Do you understand? In that scenario, yes. Now, the specific scenarios that you should do, I can't give you because I don't know your client's business. However, I will give you a trick that you can use to figure out these scenarios in your client's business. And that is this. You should always think of it in terms of, how can I help my client? How can I make my client oodles and oodles of cash? How can I make them more money? Don't think of it in the sense of, how can I make myself more money? Think about how you can make your client richer. And once you think in those terms, you will inevitably find some solution that involves you doing something new for the client, making them more money, and thus making you more money. That's it. I hope that was worth it. I hope you learned something today. I'm thinking of doing more of these sort of freelancing tips videos. If you enjoyed, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. I also do a lot of camera reviews, like the beautiful camera that I'm filming this on, microphone reviews, lens reviews, whatever. It's all on the channel. Go check it out. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below. I'll do my best to get back to you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.